Okay, so if you're a parrot owner, you know the deal. They're some of the most intelligent, amazing, and loving pets you could ever ask for, and man, do they poop. A lot. On your shoulder, the furniture, that spot you just cleaned, it's a constant battle, and it's sparked a huge debate in the parrot community. So today, we're diving right into the great parrot potty debate. So, let's start with the heart of the problem. A parrot's metabolism is super fast. I mean, they have to go to the bathroom about every 15 to 20 minutes. And that's not just some weird habit. It's pure biology. It's just how they're built. You can see why trying to keep a clean house can feel like a totally impossible mission. This brings us to the big question, right? When you're faced with this constant, natural cycle, what are your options? Do you try to train them? Do you just manage the mess? Or do you just, accept your fate and buy paper towels in bulk? Let's break down the arguments. All right, first up, let's talk about the training solution. This is the optimistic camp. It's filled with trainers and owners who believe that because parrots are so smart, you can absolutely teach them bathroom manners, kind of like you would a dog. The goal? A poop-free home. And the method itself seems pretty straightforward, really. It boils down to 4 main steps. First, you got to become an expert on your bird's tells. That little tail flick or squat they do right before it's go time. Then, you pick a designated spot and a cue word, like go potty. The third step, and this is the big one, is to reward them the second they succeed. And last but not least, you have to be super patient and consistent. Let's really zero in on that third step, because it is the absolute cornerstone of any successful training. Positive reinforcement is everything. It's all about rewarding the behavior you want to see, not punishing the accidents. Seriously, scolding a bird for pooping in the wrong place doesn't teach them anything. It just makes them scared and anxious, and trust me, that opens up a whole other can of worms. And this quote from Birdie Land really sums up the pro training argument perfectly. The idea is that if you put in the work and use these positive methods, you'll not only have a cleaner home, but also a stronger bond with your bird. It really does sound like a win-win situation. But that is not the whole story. And now we have to flip the script and look at the other side of this debate. And this side comes with a really serious warning. A lot of experts and avian vets are now saying that trying to potty train your parrot could actually be really, really dangerous for them. So the issue here isn't about intelligence. It's about physiology. This quote from Melanie Conatella really gets to the core of it. The whole argument is that training a bird to hold it goes completely against its nature. Their bodies are literally designed to get rid of waste often, not to store it up until you give them a command. And forcing them to fight their own biology can have some pretty awful consequences. We're talking serious digestive problems, like getting impacted. There's even a risk of prolapsing from the strain of holding it all in, not to mention internal infections. And beyond all the physical stuff, it can cause a ton of mental stress, which can lead to things like anxiety and even feather plucking. Okay, so we've got one side saying, train them, and the other screaming, don't you dare! It kind of feels like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. But what if there's a third way? An option that isn't about changing their behavior, but just managing the mess? And that brings us to the flight suit, or as most people call it, a bird diaper. Yeah, they're a thing. Basically, they're these little reusable, waterproof outfits that your bird can wear. The concept is super simple. It just catches the poop, which means you can have your bird out and about without constantly looking over your shoulder. But, they're not a perfect solution for every bird. This table breaks it down nicely. They can be great if you're just dying for a clean house or even for some fun photo ops. But they might be really uncomfortable for a super active bird, they don't always fit the bigger species, and they're kind of pointless for birds that can't fly anyway. It's definitely something you have to think about carefully. So all of this leads us right to the owner's dilemma. We've heard the arguments for training, the really scary health warnings against it, and this third option with the diapers. So where does that leave you? The person who just wants to hang out with their bird without having to do a load of laundry 5 minutes later.
Let's just boil it down to the trade-offs. Training offers that dream of a clean home, and it can definitely build a stronger bond. But it comes with that huge shadow of potential health problems. On the other hand, managing the mess with diapers dodges those health risks and keeps things clean, but it might make your bird uncomfortable or feel restricted. There's just no single easy answer that works for everyone.
And so, maybe we need to end by asking a totally different question. For the love of a bird, what does house-trained even mean? Is it about teaching an animal to suppress its most basic biological functions just for our convenience? Or is it about us, the humans, learning how to manage their nature in a way that's safe, healthy, and respectful? At the end of the day, that choice is up to every single owner, weighing a clean couch against the well-being of their best feathered friend.